Good morning, everyone. Class be seated, yes. Great to be with you. It's great to be here at Alcoa, world's leader in aluminum manufacturing. Great to be here in Massena, the longest continuous running aluminum plant in the country. I'm proud to be here as Governor Cuomo's Commissioner of Economic Development. My name is Howard Zemsky, and I want to start with some acknowledgments. I want to welcome U.S. Senator Charles Schumer. The President of Alcoa Primary Products, John Martin. The President and CEO of NYPA, Gil Quinones. Senator Joe Griffo. Senator Patty Ritchie. Senator Betty Little. Assemblywoman Addie Russell. St. Lawrence County Board of Legislators Chairman Billy Jones. Town of Massena Supervisor Joe Gray. Village of Massena Mayor Tim Currier. North Country REDC co-chair and president of Clarkson University, Tony Collins. North Country REDC co-chair and president of the North Country Chamber of Commerce, Gary Douglas. And Director of State Operations, Jim Malatras. I know that here in the North Country, we're agriculture and we're tourism, but today we're all about advanced manufacturing, and we're all about global export, and we're all about jobs. I am proud to work for a governor who understands the value of investing in our assets regionally, here in the North Country, here in Massena, here at Alcoa. Proud to work for a governor who understands the value of a good middle-class job, the value of that job to the quality of life, to family, and to community. And I am proud to work for a governor who, for the first time in forever, has shined the spotlight on upstate New York and has shined the spotlight on the North Country and has shined the spotlight on Massena. So it's my pleasure to introduce your greatest advocate and your greatest ally, Governor Andrew Cuomo.
Good morning. Good morning. It is really my pleasure to be here and to be joined by my colleagues. They were all gone through by Howard Zemsky. Howard Zemsky, who said he's proud 11 times. I am proud that he is proud, I want you to know. Howard is from Buffalo, New York. He's done economic development all across upstate New York. He has done a phenomenal, phenomenal job. Let's give him a round of applause, Howard Zemsky. my colleagues from Albany who have been very involved in this crisis, because it has been a crisis that's gone on just about a month. They were introduced, but again, I want to thank Joe and Patty and Betty and Addie. When I say we are friends, we are friends. We come from different political parties when we're in Albany, but we don't let our politics become more important than the people we serve. And we get things done, and we make progress, and we make compromises. And they are good people. They are phenomenal advocates for the North Country, and they've been very kind to me. Let's give them a round of applause again. You'll hear from Senator Schumer in a moment. And as a point of personal privilege, Jim Malatras on my team and Gil Quinones, who runs NYPA, have been working night and day on this plan. So let's give them a round of applause. So I was on the treadmill this morning doing my Rocky Balboa routine, listening to Rocky Balboa, getting all fired up, watching CNN in the morning. I have to watch CNN in the morning. Why do I have to watch CNN in the morning? Because my little brother, Chris Cuomo, was on CNN in the morning. And I watch the news on CNN because then I try to pick up some dirt during the show that I can tease him with later in the day, mercilessly. And I actually picked up something today. His shirt collar today was sticking up on both ends like this. He looked like he had a flying nun habit on. So I'm going to use that later. But I was listening to the broadcast, and it was all bad news. Story after story after story, bad news. Travel alert, Paris bombing, Brussels closed, all bad news. International, national. And I sent them a text. I said, I'm turning you off because I can't take any more bad news. But it feels like there has been a torrent of bad news, not in this state, frankly, but just in the world. And I was so happy to leave the house, to get on the plane, because we have really, really great news for you today. And the simple point on the good news is the Alcoa jobs are saved, and they're going to stay right here in Massena, and this plant is going to keep operating the way it has been operating for over 100 years. These are 600 good-paying jobs here in Massena. The company was talking about 487 layoffs. This is a plant, first of all, that played a very big part in the history of this state and the history of this country. Operating since 1902, it made material that went in aircraft that flew in the world wars. It's been at the state of the art. It's been the major employer, or one of the major employers for the North Country for decades. And it is a pillar of the community. You know, it's not just the jobs that the plant produces. $1.5 million in local taxes are paid by this plant. If this plant closed, it would be devastating to the local community. Economic impact of this plant is $340 million per year. And it is a plant that many people have invested their lives in. The state of New York has been a partner with this plant for many, many years. NYPA has been providing subsidies to keep the plant operating. So when we got the bad news, on the layoffs, which was traumatic, frankly, the way we heard it, and so much of what's happening in the world, you just, bad news drops from the sky and hits you on the head like a brick falling from a building. We were really shaken up and we were really scrambled, but a lot of people did a lot of work. We have an agreement with the company that says it will operate at a minimum, for a minimum of 3.5 years is the agreement. The state has put together a package to help the company operate. We understand that the company has to deal with an economic cycle. We understand that the price of aluminum is down. We get it, and we want to help. 3.5 years, NYPA is going to provide $30 million in power assistance. Thank you, Mr. Gil Quinones. Howard Zemsky, who you just heard from, who is the president of the Empire State Development Corporation, is going to provide $38.8 million in capital and operating expenses to make improvements in the plant, and to help the plant continue to operate. So thank you very much, Howard Zemsky. The agreement also provides the taxpayers, because it stipulates that if the price of aluminum raises, then the subsidies will decrease. We also have a $40 million penalty for Alcoa if the number of jobs drops below 600 jobs before March 2019. So, we understand the economic cycle. We understand Alcoa's situation in the cost of aluminum, and that we have a short-term economic problem. But this is the state's way of stepping up to say, we understand the situation, we'll step in, we want to save those jobs, we want to save that plant, we believe it's a cycle and it's going to turn around, but we'll put our money where our mouth is, so to speak, and we'll invest in the plant, in capital, and in power as long as these jobs stay here. So, and just to pick up on a point that Howard Zemsky made, we started just over 4 years ago as governor with a new administration. And we started with a very clear direction. And our direction was simple. We were going to focus like a laser beam on the upstate economy. Why? Because the upstate economy had been dropping for decades. 4 decades. Howard's from Buffalo. When you go to Buffalo, they say, yeah, when it comes to the economy, we've had a bad 40 years. You know, they're not kidding. Second, third generation. You had to see New York City doing great, but upstate New York was suffering. And frankly, the state government was asleep at the switch. People in the North Country associated more with Canada than they did with Albany. And they really felt that they were the stepchild of the state, and nobody cared, and nobody was paying attention, that everything was about downstate. And we got it. And we have been focusing on upstate, doing economic development, investing billions of dollars in upstate New York. Now, there is going to be an ebb and flow to the economy. Things happen. And it's not about our state, it's about the overall economy. We have a problem now. They want to close the Fitzpatrick nuclear plant because the company decided they want to make changes in their portfolio and they don't want to do nuclear energy. So it comes and it goes. We had a problem with Kraft Heinz where we were going to lose thousands of jobs. So you have companies that are making moves that could be a negative, but you have many, many more companies that are investing in New York and coming to New York, and that is upstate New York. We just brought GE back to Utica, believe it or not. 40 years after they left Utica, they're coming back. Largest solar manufacturer in the hemisphere, Solar City, largest solar panel manufacturer in the hemisphere, moved into Buffalo, New York, on the old Riverbend site, which was their old steel plant. And literally, on the ashes of the steel plant now comes this new solar company. We just brought a new photonics company into Rochester. Albany is doing great as the nanotech company of the world. And the North Country is doing better than it has in decades. We brought 700,000 new jobs to the state. Unemployment is down all across the state, especially upstate. The North Country, the unemployment drop is one of the largest unemployment drops in the state of New York, believe it or not. And that's a credit to what you've been doing. And today is a microcosm. You give us a challenge, and we will figure it out. Our goal is jobs. Our goal is economic development. If we're creating jobs and they're good-paying jobs, everything else will take care of itself. And if there's a challenge, this state is going to step up. And this is just a microcosm of what we can do. I've believed from day one, and I said 4 years ago when I started in Buffalo, which was our first effort to really get the economy going because it was the slowest part of the state, and people thought that I was crazy. I said, I'm banking on upstate New York. I believe in upstate New York. You have every gift you could possibly have in this state. All the geography, all the history, all the beauty that you could possibly have, hospitals, health care, universities, and something else that you can't find anymore, the best workforce in the United States of America. And when you're talking about the steel workers, you can't find a better, more talented group anywhere in this country. And if you ask me, why did we save this plant? Because you, my friends, cannot be replaced. And you can move a lot of places on this globe, but you're not going to find the steel workers who are the workforce in this plant. I'm not only proud about what we did, but how we did it. We came together, and we came together as New Yorkers. And when we do, there is nothing that we can't do. I want to once again congratulate all my colleagues who worked so hard. Gil Quinones, Jim Malatras. Let's give them a round of applause. Howard Zemsky. And now it's my pleasure to introduce a gentleman who has been a friend of mine for a long time. He's a great, great public official for the state of New York, who was incredibly helpful on this project. That is Senator Schumer. Senator Schumer and I, we are a dual-pronged strategy, let's say. You know the expression, one hits you high, one hits you low. I don't want to say who hits you high or hits you low. Forget that analogy. How about this one? One comes from the north, one comes from the south. But the senator, as soon as this happened, we were on the phone. I think I've spoken to the senator more this past month than I've spoken to my kids about the Alcoa plant. And by the way, I think that's just fine by my kids. But this was creative. It was difficult. We didn't have a lot of notice. But it worked out, and it would not have worked out if it was not for Senator Charles Schumer. Let's give him a big round of applause.
Thank you. Thank you, Governor Cuomo. Now, yesterday was my birthday. I received 2 birthday presents. The first was from a very rich uncle who gave me a gift worth tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, because my uncle, Uncle Sam, sent me my Medicare card. I turned 65 yesterday. But the second gift, even better than the first, was when I heard last night Alcoa said they were going to keep the plant open and keep all 600 jobs here in the North Country. That was the best birthday present I could have received. Sorry, Uncle Sam. Now, I want to thank so many people. The governor mentioned the people who worked with him. I'll have more to say about the governor in a minute. I want to thank our great elected officials. You got 3 state senators here, and they do a great job. You got 1 great assembly member who's here. You got a great mayor, Tim Currier, a former police chief who's worked very hard on this deal. Gary Douglas, so many others, and how can we not mention the wonderful person who everybody loves, Ernie LaBaff, who's put his heart, soul, and everything else from the steel workers into this plant. You got Howard Zemsky. Howard Zemsky is a businessman who's taken his business acumen and applied it to keeping jobs in upstate New York under the governor's leadership, and done an amazing job. So, let me say, the last week has been a trying time for everyone here. But today, after darkening clouds, a bright ray of sunshine shines in the North Country. We heard the plant would be closing. We heard it would be closing imminently. And let me tell you, I read it in the newspaper. I could use some Brooklyn words. But I was really upset because I had had a long relationship with Alcoa, and we had worked hard under Governor Patterson to first lower the power rates. Governor Cuomo, the minute he stepped in, stepped up to the plate and kept those rates down. We worked hard to come to an agreement with the federal EPA. Klaus Kleinfeld, the president of Alcoa, the CEO, told me, hey, you make sure we don't have to put $1 billion into cleaning up the Grass River. We'll put it into this plant. And so when I read it in the newspaper that they were closing the smelter, I really felt, well, because I said it to Kleinfeld, betrayed. I called him. He was flying from China to here. And he's a good man. He's a decent man. And I said to him, you cannot do this. You cannot do it. It's a betrayal of all the work that the governor and the elected officials and I have done. It's a betrayal to the North Country, and most of all, it's a betrayal to the 600 workers who have put their blood, sweat, and tears into this great plant. I said, why didn't you call Governor Cuomo? Why didn't you call Chuck Schumer and say these were your plans? Could we work something out? He genuinely felt bad. He was apologetic. And I said, well, you have an obligation, not just to say you're sorry, not just to say you feel bad, but to work with us to keep this plant open. I said, I don't care if you have to close a plant in China or Europe or somewhere else. Keep your Alcoa American plant in the North Country open. I knew the first person I should call after I talked to Kleinfeld, and that was our governor, who you've heard from. Why did I call him? For 2 reasons. First, he has put together a package of economic development incentives that are the best that any state has. And I knew how much he cared about the North Country. And I knew how hard he had focused on bringing, as he said, new jobs as well as keeping the old jobs. We had just worked together on keeping the Kraft plants open, and we were happy to say that we were adding 110 jobs at the Philadelphia cream cheese plant in Lowville, which Kraft was not going to do. We had worked together on that. And so I called him, and of course, he was Johnny on the spot, because the second reason I called him is I know he is one of the smartest, best operatives, and he's got a big heart for the people here, for the working people. He and I come from working people families. He's from Queens, I'm from Brooklyn, but we forgive those differences. And we've put together a plan that now is going to keep the jobs here for 3.5 years, and believe me, we don't think it's going to be 3.5 years and then we turn away. If the price of aluminum's up, which we hope it'll be, it'll take care of itself. If the price of aluminum is down, we'll be back here. We're not going to let this plant go, Governor Cuomo and I, for 3.5 years or 30.5 years. The state is putting money into this plant. The governor's putting money into this plant, which will modernize it, which will allow it to compete. And the combination of modernizing the plant and the best workforce in all of Alcoa land will keep this plant open for generations. So, after weeks of back and forth, we're here today on a happy day. A happy day. It is appropriate that Thursday is Thanksgiving. We first give thanks to God that we're here. But second, we give thanks to all of you who, as I said, have put your heart, mind, and soul into making this plant the great plant it is, who have made, whether it's the management or the workers. We give thanks to Alcoa. They had their initial plans, but when we showed them we could turn it around, they didn't balk. There are some companies that say, the heck with you. We made up our mind, don't bother me. But Kleinfeld and Mr. Martin and everybody else said, no, no, no. If you can show us a way, we can't lose money. That's our obligation to our stockholders. We understand that. But if you can show us a way that we can keep this plant going, we will work with you to do it. So we give thanks to Alcoa for turning around their mind. We give thanks to our local elected officials who did a great job. We give thanks, once again, a round of applause to our governor who stepped right up to the plate and didn't stop till this got done. And most of all, we give thanks to you, because without your hard work, without your waking up sometimes at 6 in the morning and you got 101 fever, but you said this plant has an obligation and I'm needed on my job and I'm going to show up at work. And there may be an emergency of this and that, and I'm going to stretch a little extra to do what I have to do. And you did it. So most of all, and I know I speak for the governor, for Howard, for all the elected officials, we give thanks to you for your hard work, because the North Country depends on this plant, and without you it would have shut down. So we give thanks to the great workers of Alcoa here in Massena, and promise you this: the partnership between you, Cuomo, Schumer, and Alcoa will continue for generations to come as this plant keeps producing aluminum. As I mentioned, Alcoa didn't behave like other corporations I have seen. They stepped up to the plate when they were shown that we could do something here. And so they deserve a lot of credit. I was mad. Kleinfeld, I'm sure, told you. I was screaming at him. But now, We're buddies again. And I want to call on somebody who has done a great job for Alcoa and is the head of Alcoa's primary products, President John Martin.
Thank you, Senator Schumer. As you know, I was also a former location manager here in Massena, so I have a very a strong personal connection to this community and all the hard workers here in this plant. I was also here 3 weeks ago, and it was a very difficult decision that Alcoa had to make, and it was based on forces in the global market in aluminum. Had nothing to do with the hardworking men and women here. And thanks to the leadership of Governor Cuomo and Senator Schumer, we now have a bridge to get us through these difficult financial times in this market and get us to better conditions in the commodity market. So we're very, very excited about that. So this is a wonderful day for Massena, for everybody here, and all the hardworking men and women of Massena operations. I'm very, very excited to be here, and again, another special round of thanks to Governor Cuomo and Senator Schumer for enabling this to happen. And next, I'd like to introduce someone very special to this community. You all know him and love him, Mr. Ernie LaBaff. So come on up. Great to have you here.
I am standing up. They handed me a speech that I should read. I don't need a written speech to tell you how I feel today. First of all, we'll get you up in the air. I'm higher, but this is not, it's got nothing to do with marijuana. But this is a great day for me and for my family and for Northern New York. I couldn't be happier. We have a great senator from New York, Chuck Schumer, who I've known for many years and loved for many years, and a great governor, a second Cuomo, that has come to save the economy of Northern New York. When I was the international president back in the 90s, Governor Mario Cuomo come up and saved our plant. This is the second time the Cuomos have helped save the economy of Northern New York, and thank you so much, Governor. Everybody's worked very hard. The steelworkers, Bob Smith's done a great job holding this plant together. And Jim Ridgway of the Steelworkers has done a great job leading the local union. But the ones who are really the ones that make this a success are the workers that work here at this plant. When the news broke that Alcoa was going to close, I was shocked. I'd always believed what was promised and how many groundbreakings do we have was going to happen. I think they ran out of shovels and changed their mind. I don't know what happened. But this is a great day for Northern New York and the economy. And both political parties have worked very hard. And the community has worked very hard, and they prayed. And this will be a very joyful Thanksgiving for Northern New York, not just for Alcoa, but for the people who live here and work here, and we're so afraid of what would happen to our economy. Without Alcoa, and I've had problems time and again, is needed in Northern New York. We cannot go without Alcoa. We all know that. And the problems we've had in the past, you have in the labor negotiations. but I am thankful for Alcoa. Thank you for changing your mind. Thank you, Senator Schumer. Thank you, Governor Cuomo. Thank all of you for making this the best Thanksgiving of my life.
Well, now that is a hard act to follow, Ernie. One last time, folks, thank you so much for coming to our extraordinary governor, our extraordinary senator. Gil, to you and NYPA for being there for so many years, to our good friend John Cuomo, NYPA chairman, and to all the trustees, to the entire team. This has been an amazing effort. And again, first and foremost, to all of you, all the folks from Alcoa who make it happen. Happy Thanksgiving indeed. Thank you all for coming very much. See you.